One, alive. Johan, here we are. I was telling you, I mean, I just woke up with this Russia-Ukraine conflict, and I was really impressed. And one question that obviously came up in my mind, apart from, the problem of the war that is much bigger than any kind of other topic. But I was thinking about freezing banking accounts. So what happened is a country like Russia invade and they take control of everything, of course. So one idea is that if you have something that is decentralized, could be resistant in this kind of situation. So this is one interesting topic. On the other side, I was thinking, yeah, it's true, but then I can have, my Bitcoin or whatever, but then if I don't have, electricity or internet connection, so that I still have a big problem. So I don't know what's your take on this subject.
So yes, there are the fundamentals, as you said, so like electricity and internet connection and stuff like that. Actually, internet connection is something you could omit, interestingly, because in order to sign a transaction and assure someone else that they will get the funds you are sending to him, you can do that completely offline. So you can broadcast that transaction later. You can sign the transaction, hand it over to the recipient or beneficiary, and you can transmit that transaction to the network later. But obviously, electricity is a kind of must-have. But related to, yes, decentralization will protect you against freezing assets and the traditional banking kind of stuff where they can just lock your assets. But in an unfortunate situation like this, what is happening right now, it is worthwhile to note that obviously it will have an impact on the crypto market prices as well. So we can already see that. So even though you can still bank with your cryptocurrencies, the value is going to plummet. So yeah, but still a lot better than getting your bank account frozen for sure. So
yeah, yes. At least there is an additional option that you can play in that scenario, let's say, yes, because for sure a traditional bank account will be gone.
Yes,
so that's right. 100%. Right. In the other scenario, maybe you have a chance. And but why do you think that like Bitcoin price is plummeting? Because in theory, it should be, let's say, resistant to this kind of situation, or not?
To be honest, although I have an economical background, I don't really focus too much on this part. I mean, there are literally so many factors in the background that I don't even want to know. I just focus on building a great technology and to put it in its place. But well, we have seen that cryptocurrencies prices really reflect the movement of the stock market lately. So I don't know what the correlation is. But yeah, unfortunately, it is this way. But you are right, but that it shouldn't be this way. But it is.
Should go the other way around.
Exactly.
But, anyway, I was curious to chat with you about quantum technologies in general. Quantum technology apply to this crypto war, blockchain, what you're building, QANplatform, and maybe let's start with a bit of context about quantum technology, because when I read an article on the traditional media, the idea is that quantum computing is coming, is sometimes in the future, and from here to there, we'll have time to adjust, all our security things. And so can you give us like a picture of where we are, first of all, with this quantum technology?
Sure, it's a tough question. So you might have seen that on our website and in our pitch deck, we are referring to IBM's upcoming quantum computer to be released end of next year. Well, I have had many debates with even quantum physicists whether that machine will be able to pull off cracking current encryption systems or not. But the debate we are having, I just always want to highlight, because there are many top talented post-quantum cryptographers. There are many wannabes as well who think they know the stuff. But if we are really arguing whether we have 1, 2, or 5 years left until it breaks, then we are already having the wrong conversation. So if you are If you are talking about such low numbers in cryptography, then that system should be already considered broken. So this is an important factor. If in cryptography you are not talking about at least 100,000 years to be broken, then that's broken. So
Right.
and also one must pay attention by the paper recently published by the White House. So it's an official publication on whitehouse.gov, which sets clear deadlines and directions for migrating to post-quantum cryptography. I think we really should be reading these signs. I mean, it's not a coincidence that they are setting these limits for the National Security Agency, for example, that they should migrate the algorithms. So you should read always in between the lines what's happening, because debating who has how many qubits and what will happen next or after next or in 5 years, that's the wrong approach, I think. So the right approach, to talk about the solution as well, is to start preparing for the migration. So this is best explained by what we do. So if you look at other post-quantum chains, it is worthwhile to note that they think the solution is to use post-quantum signatures, which seems to be logical. But the problem with that is, well, there are many problems. Let's start with the first one. Using post-quantum signatures right now is not the way to...
Sorry, you want to interrupt. What is post-quantum signature?
Okay, sure. So post-quantum signature is a digital signature which will be usable in the post-quantum era. So a digital signature quantum computers cannot break.
Right.
So
okay.
That's a post-quantum signature. Sorry, and
so it's
please.
like a password that I use, and you cannot break it with quantum computer power.
Okay, no, maybe let's talk some about the fundamentals of how blockchain transaction looks like. I don't want to get too technical. Please tell me when I should ease up on the stuff, but I'll try to be really simple here. So the first part, you are familiar with private keys, obviously. Yeah. So that's a random point on your curve, which you can determine using elliptic curve cryptography. This is the technology which is behind 99% of the blockchains. I don't want to get deeper into that. And this technology works in a way that from your private key, you can calculate your public key. And from your public key, you can calculate your address. Your address is basically where you receive funds. So this is which starts with the leading 0x on Ethereum and has different prefixes on Bitcoin depending on what kind of wallet you're using. And the problem is that what will happen with quantum attacks is that you cannot recover the public key from your address, which sounds like a good thing. But once your public key is somehow revealed, then you can calculate your private key, which means that the attacker is free to spend your money, which is bad, right?
I see.
Yeah, and
so the problem they can get my 24 words to simplify. Basically.
Yes, exactly. So, but I started with that attackers cannot calculate your public key from your address. But the unfortunate thing is that as soon as you sign a transaction, so you effectively send money, interact with a smart contract or whatever, you have to reveal your public key. Because if we set quantum computing aside, this is how the system works. So in order to verify your signature, I will need your public key. And this is where the problem comes from, that given the public key, quantum computing attacks will be capable of reversing your private key, and then the system is broken, obviously.
I see. Okay, got it.
So post-quantum signatures, on the other hand, follow the very same principle. You have your private key, public key, address, and the chain is the same, except that it's not broken from this perspective, that you can only go one way, not the other. Which sounds cool and sounds like we are safe, and we really are. But the problem is that although post-quantum signatures require significantly less computing power than current algorithms, which sounds nice, but on the other hand, they require an enormous amount of storage, which I won't say we won't have, because storage is the cheapest resource in IT, but still the difference is so big that it's definitely not worth it storing post-quantum signatures for every single transaction at the moment, given that at this time, there is not a single capable quantum computer which could break the current standard. So the right approach, which no one besides us is doing, is to keep using your old signature scheme, which will be vulnerable, we know that, but also do cross signatures. So this way we are effectively linking together your old signature key, which will be vulnerable, with your new one. And as soon as we see that the problem is effective and the quantum computers are already here, we can do a simple instantaneous migration to post-quantum signatures, ditching the old keys. So this is something no one else can do because, and this is also the interesting topic, that if you go into forums and read about it, you will see the many experts telling you that, yeah, there is openquantumsafe.org, and as soon as the problem is coming, these algorithms will be merged into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and it will just all click. And it sounds perfect. Yeah, it sounds perfectly logical. This is the problem. Then that they don't think about, okay, guys, what will happen to those accounts which even the legitimate users don't have the keys for, which have literally billions of dollars from early mining when Bitcoin was like a couple cents worth, and people just lost access because they mined a couple thousand Bitcoins and it was worth like $10 and they couldn't care anymore and threw the keys away. So there will be so much free money stolen by hackers poured onto the market that it could even collapse from an economical standpoint of view. So you just cannot migrate an already running system, is the point I'm trying to make here.
I see.
On the other hand, we can do that because on our chain, it is perfectly guaranteed that every single elliptic curve is the old technology. So every single elliptic curve wallet has a post-quantum key assigned to it as well. So we can make the switch like this so many times.
So is a sort of, I try, Johann, to simplify for the people listening that maybe not familiar with the topic, but is a sort of, you can add, let's say, two-factor authentication to the existent wallet, sort of. Like I use my signature plus I add this quantum extra security layer, and I try to secure the transaction, something like that.
Yes, you got the point very well. So this is how this works in the background. Our solution is that you have to run a very tiny, really resource-efficient program in the background, either on your desktop, mobile phone, server, wherever, which is doing one simple thing. You link it with your wallet, and it will cross-sign the transactions in the background. So you actually don't have to care about anything. And this brings me to the next very important point. Because yes, now I think we covered why others are wrong about this, that there are not too many post-quantum chains, but they are all using post-quantum signatures directly, which leads us to storage exhaustion, as I just highlighted, that they use a tremendous
Before you go to the next point, Johann, I was curious to understand how far are we from this quantum situation where it's possible to run a quantum computing attack and crack the actual, I don't know, wallets or...
Well, the thing is that we don't really know, because obviously if you think from the other side of this perspective, I mean, if you really had a machine which would be capable of, let's say, cracking these wallets today, there are two things you wouldn't do. You wouldn't crack something immediately to give it away that, yes, someone already has the technology. And on the other hand, you wouldn't brag about it, so you can keep your advantage. So, but from what we know, what is official, which is obviously has to be a lot less than what the truth is that at the end of next year, IBM's computer could break these systems, but many quantum physicists are skeptical about that. So I won't say, but maybe 5 years is perfectly realistic, I would say, given current knowledge, but this area is expanding rapidly as well.
And is it an area where to really make important progress, you really need a lot of resources and very skilled, specialized experts, or is something that, you know, is more about finding the right way to do it? A genius mathematician can come out with something, and a small team of people can crack the code, or you need like hardware that is really so there are only few people, few places that can really develop that. How does it work?
Yeah, you need a lot of brains, a lot of money, and a lot of hardware. So obviously these three are correlated. And myself, I'm not a quantum physician, so I don't really understand that deep level how the photons work and all that stuff, because I write software. So I keep myself up to date on what the standardization process is, what kind of algorithms are usable to prevent the problem. But I'm not into the quantum physics part, and I'm not too deep into the mathematics part. So we have specialized quantum engineers and mathematicians for this problem. I'm not one of them. So I'm implementing these protections in software. So I'm not about the mathematics and behind it.
Got it. Okay, clear. So let's say we have sort of 5 years time to
I
do
just wanted to say a nice number so that you are not worried, but this could be very well 1 year, 2 year, 3, and I wouldn't say any more.
Right, got it. So basically, your approach is not to substitute, from what I understand, the existing blockchains, Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, but you go like sort of a parallel train. There's the train of Bitcoin, and that's your train in parallel, and you cross protect these chains. Is it something like that?
No. Sorry. Then there's a misunderstanding. No, we do our own chain. So this solution, which I just told you how it works, it wouldn't work on Bitcoin either or Ethereum, because I cannot convince. The key is that I cannot get to every single wallet holder. So I cannot go to them and tell them what the solution is and ask them that please migrate to this solution. Otherwise, your funds might be compromised in the short future. Because even if I could, as I said, that many wallet owners don't have that option anymore because they don't have their own keys themselves.
Yeah.
So even if I was given the task to, Johann, I think your solution is great. Please save Bitcoin. Please save Ethereum. Please save XYZ, your favorite chain. I couldn't do it. So this is the point. Okay. So our solution only works because you cannot make a single transaction without having a post-quantum signature on it as well, which guarantees that every single account has a correlated post-quantum signature key too. So this is the only thing which makes us able to migrate to purely post-quantum signatures at any time when the time comes.
Got it. But you can let's say have a cross operability with these chains, right? Can you there is a dialogue there, or the developers just have to migrate on your chain and that's it, and forget about Ethereum, Solana, Bitcoin, or whatever?
Yes, interoperability is
it's a nice word.
Yes, it's a nice word, and it's incredibly difficult. Well, it's not that difficult actually, but the thing is that there's always an intermediary, and this intermediary obviously doesn't have to be a single person or single entity, whatever. But the thing is that if you have, let's look at the interoperability of Bitcoin and Ethereum, like the two largest chains with the most decentralization in place, which is the really best from this perspective. And you want to migrate one Bitcoin to Ethereum because Ethereum has these robbed Bitcoins and stuff like that. So you can do that and use your Bitcoins in smart contracts and stuff like that. But the problem is that you will have to trust the bridge who will bridge your Bitcoin to Ethereum. So although while Bitcoin itself might have a couple thousand validators and Ethereum has also a couple thousand validators, maybe the intermediary, this interoperability bridge, will only have like 3 or 1, and your funds is only as safe as much as you trust those people or those entities. So interoperability in my head doesn't really exist. There is no such thing. You are simply just trusting someone to please move your money from point A to point B. And while this is how it works, I mean, I couldn't do it any better. But the problem is the misinterpretation that people think that the changes somehow magically connect to each other and they will transfer it. And this is definitely not how it works. You are just simply trusting someone with your money. That's all what happens in the background. There is no technology magic.
I see. That's why I think was it wormhole? There was a bridge, and the hack was on the bridge, basically.
Yes, yes, yes.
Which I
Those are
assume
the
is easier than attacking like a main chain.
exactly.
Got it. Okay, so time horizon clear, problem. Okay, understand the signature problem, and but what are the other chains doing? By the way, I mean, is it a discussed topic? Is it something that at the moment is not really a core topic of conversation? What's the situation there?
Well, if you look at Ethereum, the Ethereum Foundation and Vitalik was denying the existence of this whole quantum problem altogether like 3 years ago. Now, since we have moved forward and they have acknowledged that yes, this is a serious threat to cryptocurrencies, and I could show you job openings from the Ethereum Foundation where they are looking for cryptographers for the same algorithm we've been developing for quite some time. So it just checks out. I mean, because many people just don't want. I was also on the same train. I mean, I had to be convinced, because if you are coming from cryptography background and you were into Bitcoin and Ethereum, and you know that even trying to just count up all the private keys would take more energy than the sun possibly has, then you just won't accept the fact that this thing can be broken. But you have to eventually. So you have to get deep down, understand the basics, and acknowledge and accept that yes, this is a problem and we will need to fix it. And no matter how badly everyone and the many participants in the crypto space try to deny this problem, more and more serious chains are recognizing it and working on it. So as I said, Ethereum is the finest and biggest example. Algorand is also working on it. So many are working on it. The problem, again, as I said, that migrating an already running chain is next to impossible.
Got it. So what's the solution for these chains? Like,
well, they should migrate their smart contracts, tokens, wealth to post-quantum chains. So that's all they can do, I think.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a massive change. I mean, it's not a small, tiny change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was curious if you can serve as a sort of API to these chains where you provide that service, and so that like Ethereum or Solana goes and you are the API that just keep providing this quantum post-quantum security, or is something that is technically not doable?
You mean quantum resistance as a service kind of thing?
No. Exactly. Yeah.
No, all the best we can do is to enable migration from Ethereum compatible chains. So the way Ethereum is built, that it has certain storage slots, and if you have a corresponding private key, then we can migrate all your smart contracts logic and also the storage to another system. So this is the best we can do, but we cannot fix it in a place. So even if we wanted to, and obviously this would be a very nice business model as well, to rather than building something from ground up, which is really, really hard work, just provide quantum security for these chains. But no, it's not, unfortunately, not possible.
Wow, Johann, but that will completely change the scenario of all the blockchains if this happens, because
there are other solutions. To be frank, so that obviously I'm pushing this way because I think this is the right way, and also obviously I have interest in this because we are building the world's first quantum resistant Ethereum compatible blockchain. But let's set this aside and look at the other possible options. They could introduce a migration window of they define the timing. So let's say 1 month, 6 months. 1 year is already risky, if you ask me. So there might be already quantum computers out there lurking, which could have already possibly stolen all the keys by now. They just don't use it because they are waiting for the right timing.
Right.
And during this, let's say they say that the migration window starts tomorrow, and whoever doesn't migrate to post-quantum wallets by the end of this window, they just lost all their funds. So For example, this is a possibility. But these are, as you see, very severe. So if you invested in Bitcoin and you just threw your keys away and you just went to live your own life and don't really want to care about it for 10 years, and you come back and see that you just lost all your wealth. So this is not something you should do. And so yes, any kind of other possibility they pursue will have really severe effects. I mean, so all these changes would be dramatic, of course.
Is there, in this moment, if someone has a Bitcoin, is watching our chat and is petrified at the moment of this moment of the conversation, and has Bitcoin or Ether or whatever, is it anything that you can do, like moving in a post-quantum wallet your Bitcoin or Ethereum, or not? Or you can't do anything, and it's the chain that has to do the changes? Or
this is the next big misconception. There is no such thing as wallet. So a wallet is essentially just a private key which can be used to access your funds. And that private key is working in correspondence of a specific algorithm. So if you have a post-quantum wallet in which you say, that would mean that you have a private key which is usable with a post-quantum algorithm only, which is not compatible with Bitcoin or Ethereum. So it's not about, let me put it in another perspective. Just give me a second here. Let's say that you are the most security-focused guy there ever was, and I open my wallets using by throwing dice. So I don't even trust the random number generator of a computer. And if I define my private key using rolling dice, and I write it down on paper and never ever use it, just receive money. Then I'm only, in this case, I am quantum safe, because then I don't have to reveal my public key. And so once I send an outgoing transaction where I have to reveal my public key, it doesn't matter where I store my private key. If it's on a piece of paper in a safe inside deep down a bunker, it's not like quantum computers break into your computer and steal your key. They just calculate it. So this is the scary part, that it's not about you mishandling your keys or not paying attention, or viruses getting installed on your computer, or quantum computers breaking into your laptop. It's just the math checks out. They will simply calculate your private key and they have it. So this is
they log in and move the money. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Pretty interesting.
Depends.
What will be the scenario then? What do you expect that happening in like 2 years, 3 years time?
Well, I don't know how it will go down. I mean, I don't know what my strategy would be if I had a quantum computer and I would have malicious intents. By malicious intent, I obviously mean a financial motive to steal other people's funds. Because if they start attacking the big ones, then they will ring the alarm. I mean, they will most likely start with modest size wallets. I mean, with not too much tokens inside them. And they would also most likely aim for wallets which haven't been used, like maybe even in a couple of years, but at least since 1 year, because they are much less likely to tip off the alarm that someone goes running around. And it's even scary that if you think about it, that what would happen to you if your funds would be stolen by tomorrow, and you know that you have kept it in your safe, pencil, paper, and you know that it's safe, but somehow your funds got lost anyway. You go to Reddit, you go to some social media and start crying about it. That guys, really, I was really paying attention. Believe me, my
people will say, it's not true.
It's not true. You're stupid. You mishandled your keys. No one would believe you. This is the key. So actually, you could reap off pretty much of these wallets, especially if you pay attention to attacking wallets with no recent activity first, without people realizing that, yes, guys, we are there. This is happening. So many people would have to complain, and they would be most likely not believed anyway. So it's an interesting process if you think.
How would you advise people to behave in this scenario with their wallets, with their Bitcoin here and there? what are you doing? I mean, what's the best way to behave?
I'm still using this technology, so I'm pretty confident that, as I said, that even if these computers exist today, then those in possession of them wouldn't tip off the community, and most likely these computers will be first used by national security and stuff like that. So the first use case wouldn't be stealing a bunch of people's bitcoins. So this is definitely a secondary use case, which will most likely come when other non-officials get access to these computers, or some people after the work time start to experimenting with other stuff. But this will not be the first and primary use case, but the possibility is there, so we shouldn't neglect that. But what I would do personally, I don't know. As I said, I still use these technologies, and I perfectly know that there might be computers already out there we don't know about. I just don't keep actually. So as I said, I use the technology. I don't keep wealth in crypto. So we are working on our own platform. So my only goal is to build a platform for the future, make it of really high value. And this way, I think we can contribute so much to this community that the worth of it will be shown as well. So this is my strategy, but this is a very unique strategy because not every people are building blockchains.
What's the development stage of Quan platform? At what stage are you?
Yes, so we launched the testnet in January. We are now undergoing an audit, which is to be finished soon. And currently, you can test on the testnet 3 key points. One is the speed of the network, which is nice to have, but not the key factor, obviously. You can test that it is compatible with Ethereum wallets. So I haven't talked too much about this so far, but this is a key point because, again, let's get back to the competitors of ours, let's say, who are, as I told you, using post-quantum signatures, which will very quickly lead to storage exhaustion, and is just not a sustainable model. But they are also rolling their own APIs. I mean, they are not compatible with Ethereum because obviously, it again seems logical that if you use a different signature scheme, then you cannot be compatible with Ethereum. And this is the other reason why we went with the cross signatures, because you can use your Ethereum keys, you can use your Ethereum wallet, you can use every single tool which you are used to and familiar with. The only requirement is to have the post-quantum signer running in the background. So this way we can win a very big slice of market share by being able to tell the people that, hey, we know you love your wallets, you love your software, you love your APIs, whatever, you can continue to use them. Just run this tiny program in the background and you will be all fine. No one else does this. And this is the next point, which is also testable, that you can use anything, really, you are currently using for Ethereum. It will work just the same way on Quan, given that you are running the background signer, post-quantum cross-signer solution. And the third thing is obviously the security, how it works, that you can see that the post-quantum signer is running, then you are able to submit transactions. If there is no cross-signature, then it's rejected automatically. So these are the 3 key factors which you can test on the testnet. Just to summarize, the speed, the Ethereum compatibility, and the post-quantum signatures.
So I can try to use like MetaMask and
Correct.
Something like that. Okay.
Correct.
And I can buy an NFT. I was thinking that then all the NFTs, all the Bored Ape will be stolen.
That's right. But no, so that's the NFTs are working with smart contracts. So the virtual machine is not yet ready. That will be released around April, most likely, or even May. I don't want to set any deadlines in stone. But those are not working yet. So only regular transactions. So you can send back and forth the equivalent of Ether. So you can just execute monetary transaction. You can send testnet tokens to one address to another, but you cannot deploy smart contracts. You cannot interact with smart contracts, obviously, because there aren't any, and stuff like that. That comes later.
Right, got it. What's the size of your company to provide this level of service? And I would be I wouldn't sleep for security. I would be always scared about being attacked. So how does it work?
Yes, size of the company is an interesting question. So I'm working with 13 developers, which is sure, but they are not employees. So we really work like a decentralized organizations. There are many volunteers as well. So the whole quant team, I just call it this way because we have many contributors. I don't really do anything with marketing, with communication. And this whole organization consists of almost 40 people at the moment.
Right.
But it's not like it's a single company and everybody is employed there. So these are digital nomads, crypto anarchists. So it's a really, really nice team we have here, and I'm really proud of them. And not everybody, but obviously a lot of people are doing it because they recognize the danger, they see the greater good, and they know that if we build something of high value, then it will make everybody happy. So,
and what kind of hardware capabilities you will need to run the platform, like specific hardware or AWS, and that's it?
Yeah. There are different tiers, so there will be different roles in the mainnet once it launches. There will be validators. You can run the validation, for example, even on a Raspberry Pi. If you want to execute smart contracts, because we didn't touch this yet, but you will be able to write smart contracts in any language on our platform.
Right.
So for that, you will need beefier computers, but the ecosystem is very well connected. So yes, you will be able to run smart contracts. You will need dedicated hardware, expensive hardware, but obviously your investment of such hardware will quickly recover because the validation fees will be also distributed not just across validators, but across smart contract runners. So the economics is almost as hard behind it as the technology is. So in order to fairly motivate everyone participating in the network, it's a really tough job to do. So this is why we will start with the mainnet beta, because many people have been asking the question what a mainnet beta is. And that stands for it works in every way like the final version will, but we might adjust the financial motives and rewards and who gets how many tokens for what to keep the system stable and keep every single party mutually interested in running those specific roles.
When do you expect Johann to have a final release, let's say?
There is no such thing as a final release.
Yeah,
I mean in software. So
out of like the testing, and you say, all right, that's stage one accomplished. We up and running.
When the mainnet will launch, you mean?
Yeah.
Essentially. Yeah, end of this year.
All right. So end of this year is out. What kind of numbers can you do you expect to deal with? I mean, if I look at Ethereum or Bitcoin, they proved during these years that they can handle like a large amount of users or wallets.
Yes.
What's your expectation there?
Well, these two chains are the most decentralized ones. I mean, there is always this trilemma where you have to choose between security, scalability, and decentralization. And we will make it a little bit more centralized than Ethereum and Bitcoin is, because I'll give you an example. Ethereum and Bitcoin both of them have several thousand validators across the network, which makes it really, really decentralized. So I have to recognize that. But in order to execute a successful attack, you will need at least 55% of the nodes to be malicious and act in a way that is in a dishonest way to successfully accomplish an attack. What I think is that, let's say, and this is not for sure the model we will go for, this is just an imaginary situation, just for thinking ahead. Let's say that there is a validator from each and every country across this planet. So if you want to break this system, then you will need to convince 51% of each of these validators. You would have to go to them. And the thing is that it would be immediately recognizable that they are cheating. So if you have this mission to be a validator, which is such a high role, and you are known, for example, then you wouldn't risk. I mean, what would be the certain scenario where you would risk your reputation getting ruined immediately by jumping into such a malicious transaction and colluding with others? So I just really can't see it happening. And if we are talking, this is why I wanted to talk about countries, because then we are talking about less than 200 validators, right? Which will allow us for much more massive speeds, and will still have very sufficient level of decentralization that you cannot break it. It's just a different threat model, if you ask me. And well, I had debates with, as I said, crypto anarchists who say that no, we need at least a couple thousand validators. I mean, okay, go ahead, break my system in theory, and you cannot just give me an example where these people would collude and ruin their reputations and go against the whole community. I mean, is it money? Because validators will have plenty of it. So I just can't find a reason. So obviously on paper, it's much better if you have a couple thousand, but on the other hand, try to break 200 with an explanation, with a theory. It won't happen. And the most important point is, by lowering the amount of active validators at the moment, we can increase speeds quite greatly, which is an important factor. On the other hand, if you look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, they have really, really slow speeds, which is an actual problem on the blockchain today.
Right, I see. So it's sort of like, am I wrong if I say that Solana probably is pursuing that way, like more centralized? I mean,
exactly, sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
from
Solana
the centralization point of view.
Yeah.
Right. I will not go into your feedback about Solana from
I will refrain anyway. I don't want to say anything, but
no, but I was just thinking only about centralized, decentralized. I mean, there are some chains that prefer to be faster by centralizing instead of decentralizing.
Exactly. You have to find the perfect balance. I mean, you could build a really, really fast, just the example you brought, Solana. So if you compromise on decentralization, you can achieve much greater throughput. It's the question where you want to set this parameter.
Yeah. Got it. And I was curious also about your business model. I mean, what's the business model of QANplatform? How are you setting up this part?
Well, we don't want to make the same mistake which Ethereum did. By that, I mean that initially when they launched Ethereum back in 2014, 15, I don't even remember the official launch, they made a lot of token pre-sales, they created a platform, and they had a lot of company reserve tokens or whatsoever. And they were rolling out grants and all that kind of stuff that they gave away money for free, basically, to developers to build on Ethereum. And as I've heard, many companies started approaching Ethereum, that this is a great thing, what you are doing here, guys. We want to employ this technology at our company, and we want to incorporate it into our processes. And Ethereum was really focusing, for which I'm thankful, on the core technology, and they were turning customers away. So they were rather giving away money to companies who would do the consulting for these clients. So they don't have this burden of having to deal with customers. But this led to no revenue as well. I mean, the companies who initially funded by Ethereum to take away this problem, so to say, they are now very, very big company. I mean, look at Consensus. Maybe you heard of them. They are one of them.
Massive.
Yeah. So we want to set up a parallel. So it's also important that I really agree that the core development should be always the core focus. But we will definitely set up a subsidiary which has independent management and operates like a normal everyday company. I mean, that's not even a crypto company, it's a consulting company, which will be the official company providing consulting for integrating quant technology into business processes.
I see. Sort of, instead of consensus, quansensus or something.
Okay. I will note that down. I will.
Name, branding name. Remember about me if you use it. Very good. Johann, thank you so much. It was really interesting, scary, but I hope that you'll get a solution, and also other chains will find a way to arrive to a good solution, so that we all users will be able to sleep in the future. I'm just still thinking, what should I do now until this situation is sort of solved?
We will obviously keep our site updated, and any major breakthrough you will definitely notice on our website. So this is our focus. So we will push out any relevant news as soon as they are available. So if you keep paying attention to our website, then you will be fine.
Cool. Johann, thank you so much, and good luck for everything. I'll see you soon.
Thank you very much, Monty. Thank you.